Hey friends, hey, it's your girl Kitty. If you are new to my channel, welcome. If you are a ride or die part of KKC, welcome back. Today guys, I am having, well, this is an episode of Broke Girl Mukbang. So we are having a frozen TV dinner, which is Swedish meatballs. It actually looks and tastes pretty good for being a little frozen dinner. And I have mozzarella grilled cheese. So yeah, this is an episode of Broke Girl Mukbang. Tomorrow's payday. Yeah. Anyways, we're just gonna dig in. Before this gets, well, I think it's going to take a little bit to get cold because this is pretty steamy. All right, we're gonna get a bite. Ooh, don't fall off. I actually want to attempt to make Swedish meatballs, like homemade. Because like, even though this is just a frozen dinner, it's pretty good. Wow! Do you guys see that? Or are they, oh, look at that noodle! Oh my gosh. I hope that's one of the thumbnails. I'm not sure what spices are in this, but this is kind of spicy. So, I asked my mom and dad a couple of questions about my very first epileptic seizure. And I had thought they were asleep. They were watching TV. They were watching TV when it happened. So my initial thought was right. Because I had first said they were watching TV. Water. That's for Angelina Spicy. Hashtag health. So, what was the other question? Oh, what my dad's initial thoughts were. He said he remembers the day just like it was yesterday, but in the moment of everything, he wasn't thinking anything but I've got to save my daughter. That's all that was on his head. Or on his mind, on his head. As for my mom, she's, my dad went to the hospital with me in the ambulance, and my mom stayed behind because of my sisters. And so my mom basically was just sat there and worried, panicked, like, you know, kept thinking, like, you know, and praying, like, that I wouldn't die. and praying that I was okay. Reason being, my mom didn't come with me. Reason being, I think it's natural for men to stay relatively calm in emergency situations. And my mom was in hysterics. So she was freaking out. And just, I think it's a little more difficult for a woman to stay calm and focused when it comes to an emergency involving their child. So when they said, who's coming with her? My mom was like, go. She couldn't do it. As much as she wanted to be there with me and be there for me, she knew, like, it would be difficult. Now, as far as other experiences with seizures, there's not too many stories, not too many memories of like major seizures. I think my first initial seizure was the worst. The two I had at camp were pretty bad. I don't know if I really recall anything after that. I think they got my medication dosage and stabilized to the point where I wasn't having seizures. And I remember, I'm not really sure exactly how old I was, but I remember being like, I want to say, okay, so 17 would have been the end of high school, 16. Maybe 15. I know they said, like, you know, keep her on the medication, she'll outgrow them. They kept doing tests throughout my life. So then I apparently, what I thought, outgrew them. And then I remember having, where was I? I can't even remember where I was. I remember having the episode. I didn't quite call them seizures. But I remember I had one. It was kind of like random, out of the blue, and it was during the day. And then I had the same incident happen at my ex-boyfriend's house. And I was in the kitchen making a sandwich. And I just all of a sudden felt like the room was spinning. I felt disoriented. It just hit me. And I'm like, I need to go I need to lay down. That was the first thought in my head, was I need to lay down before I fall down. And then I could see, and then it was almost like I passed out to the point, like with the point of I couldn't open my eyes. Before my eyes closed, everything went black. like complete darkness. I wasn't convulsing, like convulsions, but I remember I could hear everyone around me, but I couldn't talk. And in my mind, I was screaming, like, I was scared, like, I couldn't open my mouth to talk. In my head, I was talking, like, yes, guys, I can hear you, like, but I couldn't move my mouth, the words, like, I just couldn't do it. And I want to say this episode was maybe in a total of 2 to 3 minutes, from start to finish, from the initial feeling like disoriented, dizzy, like cross-eyed, like felt like I was gonna fall over, pass out. So, and when I like could finally open my eyes, like there's my sister and my brother-in-law and my boyfriend and his grandmother and his aunt. And his aunt was talking to me. And like, cause my older sister was like freaking out. She didn't like, see, women, normally women can't handle like, you know, emergency situations. And so his aunt was like kind of talking to me, and then I like kind of like opened my eyes, and it was like I was able to talk. Like my speech was off and it was slow, but I was able to actually talk. So some time went by with nothing. And then I remember being at a party and being like intoxicated, obviously. And I remember having not like a full episode, like the one where I like couldn't see or I could hear but not talk, and it was just, it wasn't as intense as that one, and it wasn't like a full-blown seizure. That's why I call them just episodes. Anyways, so I had like just some weird feelings anyways, and I just, you know, being intoxicated, having these feelings, and, you know, then I like got really sad. And I remember sitting in my sister's house in, was I in the, no, it wasn't the bathroom. I think it was in one of the bedrooms upstairs. And I was sitting in the room. I had shut the door and I had sat down in front of the door, and I had taken a handful of my medication. And I kept like popping a bunch in my mouth and washing it down with booze. I was trying to kill myself. And I remember I dropped the pill bottle and I just started crying. And I was crying and crying and crying. And I got up and I staggered to the bathroom. And if it weren't, I'm not sure what would have happened if I hadn't have gotten pukey sick from drinking. If I hadn't have, like, if I hadn't have been drinking and drunk to the point where I was sick, I don't know what taking that many pills would have done to me. Like, I don't want to know. And it's stupid. I was young and dumb, and I was just drunk and feeling like, you know, just having a moment of like, I'm stupid, what the fuck's wrong with me, blah, 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 blah. Like, I'm not normal, like, I just felt really, really shitty about myself. I don't think I've ever, my older sister knows about that, but I don't think I ever really told anybody. I don't really think I told anybody that I did that. But yeah, that was not a fun experience. So, I never had another episode until I was pregnant with Johnny, but I can't remember. I was like maybe 3 or 4 months pregnant, maybe. I think I wrote it down in his baby book, maybe. I had a very small episode when I was like 3 or 4 months pregnant. And it wasn't like extreme or anything. But I had chose, once I got pregnant, to stop taking my medication. Because I wasn't sure what that medication would do to a growing baby. And my doctor was like, do you know what can happen to your baby if you don't take your meds and you have a seizure? I'm like, I haven't had an full-blown epileptic seizure in years. I have mild episodes. That's a risk I'm willing to take because I have no idea what these pills will do to a baby. Like, I don't know. I wasn't gonna chance it. But I only had the one. I only had the one during my pregnancy. My grilled cheese is cold. Everything's been cold for a few minutes now. I think with every episode, every seizure, I think did damage, like, to my memory. And just with, like, I could be having mini seizures while I'm sleeping and not even realize it, because that's when my brain activity is, like, crazy, like off the charts active when I'm sleeping. So I could be having mini seizures in my sleep and not really even realize it. So as far as there being anything else you guys want to know about my seizures, I don't really know there's much more I can tell you. It's not fun. And there are all different types and severities of epilepsy. But just there was a couple of questions in that video about, like, wanting to know a little more, so I guess this is all I have to tell you. To date, I haven't had any that I'm aware of, so I guess that's a good thing. But anyways, I want to thank you guys for having dinner with me and joining me for another episode of Broke Girl Mukbang. And this was pretty tasty. I mean, for that being like a little Great Value Walmart brand frozen dinner, it's pretty tasty. It's not bland, that's for sure. But yes, I want to thank you guys for watching and hanging out, and I love you guys. If you are new to my channel and you're watching my videos for the first time, welcome again, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe and join the KKC family. Until next time, my beautiful friends, stay blessed, stay positive, Always smile and know that Kitty loves you. Deuces.